Hello, welcome to the Last Supper of Outcasts, and I'm your host, Princess Leia. Today is Thursday, June 11th, 2026. Not that it matters. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about energy, and not energy in the sense of caloric energy, but energy in the sense of a powerful force, such as gravity is a powerful force, or electricity is a powerful force uh, that can't really be seen, except for maybe its effects. Um, and I wanted to, before we get started, I have a quote for the day. It's by Nikola Tesla. And the quote is, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." That's a quote by Nikola Tesla, which I think is uh, appropriate for what we're discussing here. And I thought about this topic because the channel is mainly about my observations through life and my experiences and how I think they relate to deeper things, even if the experiences are small or minute. Uh, I believe they describe something much bigger, but that's all to be taken into as just my opinion. Um, and today I wanted to convey an event that happened to me when I was around 16 years old. I had a very good friend. His name was Kenny, and Kenny was a guitar player. I was a drummer. That's how we became friends. We used to just jam, the two of us, and we had a good time. And one night, me and Kenny were out back in this was in upstate New York. We were back in in the fields, just kind of hiking um, and exploring the territory. And it was the middle of winter, and it was nighttime. And my I started to complain that my feet were freezing, that we might have to go back. They were so cold, it was becoming unbearable. The snow was probably maybe like ankle deep. So when you put your foot in the snow, you're basically your whole foot was covered. Um, so I kept complaining about it, and then after about 10 minutes of me complaining, Kenny he said, "All right, come over here, come here," and he put his hands on my head. I don't remember if it was one hand or two hands, and then he just said, "Think about your feet getting warm," while his hands were on my head. Think intently, think hard about your feet getting warm, and believe that it can happen. So I mean, we weren't there that long, and lo and behold, after about, I would say, a minute of Kenny's hands on my head and me thinking about my feet getting warm because they were really cold, uh, lo and behold, after about a minute or two, they got warm. Like, it was a very powerful experience. And not only did they get warm for that moment, but I didn't complain about my feet for the rest of the evening. We stayed out there, and I never had a problem for the probably another hour or two that we were just out there exploring the territory. So I wanted to convey that story. Kenny was an interesting guy, and he used to be a big Rush fan. And if you know anything about the Rush's music, a lot of it talks about energy. And Kenny on his own would always talk about energy. And you know, after that incident, I started to think a lot about energy myself. So I wanted to convey that it's another thing that just makes me think that we as humans, we it's I don't want to get all woo woo here, but I think we have access to things that we're not really aware of, and there may be forces and powers that are unseen and kind of pushing things in a direction. Uh, and my question is, how much of that direction do we have control over with our minds? Um, so that was basically what I wanted to convey. That there is, and that makes me believe there's something powerful out there that we may or may not have access to. Again, I'm not claiming to know anything. I'm just a student. I'm an observer. Uh, I have a fairly decent background in terms of history. It's philosophical, economic, religious, and political. So I don't tend in any one direction. I'm pretty open minded. So, and this isn't like a secret type of thing because I think that that's just modern day somebody trying to sell you a book. But there's something to to it. Uh, but we can access it without having to pay $29.99. I believe. And you know, another thing about Kenny was that there was something in his family. Every time I went over there, even if it was during the day, his parents were never around. He had a sister and a brother. His brother was a schizophrenic, and but the parents were never around, and I thought that was odd, even then. Um, and then one day, this person Earl came along, kind of out of nowhere, as a third, part of our unit. Me, Kenny, and now Earl, who I didn't go to high school with him. I had no idea where he came from, and Kenny really didn't have an explanation. But Kenny used to claim that him and Earl could sit in a chair, like close to each other, and they could talk through their thoughts. And at this point, I'm starting to think Kenny's going nuts, which eventually he actually did. But um, Earl, who came out of nowhere and who Kenny claimed that he could speak to without opening his mouth, he could communicate with just his mind. Earl ended up jumping off a city hall in downtown Buffalo and impaling himself on a flagpole. And then I would say like 20 years later, I'm downtown, where me and my cousin are we're watching we're at a concert, and literally right next to me, and this story about Earl, it's you can Google it, but at the time it wasn't something that people were, it wasn't something I remember being in the news or people making a big deal out of it. It was just kind of like brushed off as just another one bites the dust, unfortunately. But about 20 or 30 years later, I'm at a concert with my cousin in downtown by City Hall. You could definitely see it. It's pretty imposing. And some guy, I don't know who it was just in earshot, said something about, you remember the idiot that jumped off City Hall and impaled himself? And he's talking to one of his friends. He wasn't talking to me. And I just, then I thought, man, I that was Earl. And just the fact that I was in no one ever talked about this thing that I can remember. It just happened to be that I'm there within earshot of this guy talking about this thing. So there's another little thing that is the universe speaking? Is somebody trying to tell me something or whatever? Yeah, I don't know. And then at around the same time, or 20, 30 years later, my aunt, who lived two houses down from me, about 20 or 30 years after me and Kenny were friends. We had long since just kind of separated. I actually moved to California. My aunt told me that she spotted him in her backyard, and there used to be a little creek that ran through the backyard. And she said that he was there just kind of staring at the creek. And she asked him if, she didn't recognize him. She didn't know who he was. She asked him, can I help you? And he said, I'm looking for Mark. And that's me. And that was it. I mean, it's another strange thing with Kenny. He did it eventually. I think he kind of lost his marbles. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But I hope you're resting in peace, Kenny. Those were some eye-opening moments for me. So I just wanted to convey that, just a short snippet of an experience that happened to me that makes me feel that there are forces that are more powerful than we probably can even imagine, and that we may or may not be able to tap into to maybe push things along in our favor. I don't know. And another thing that I wanted to mention is about if you've never seen them, look into the sand vibrations. I think they're called Chladni figures, where they put some kind of sand on a surface and vibrate the surface in certain, I guess you say, hertz, megahertz, and these things form into very intricate patterns, very intricate, almost like the crop circle type patterns. And again, I'm not trying to make a link or an assumption. The main purpose of what I'm saying here is it's not to tell people what to think or how to think or any of that, or what is right or what is wrong. It's to help people maybe open their minds a little bit and to learn to think a little bit more on their own for themselves. And people are smarter than they think they are. So that's about it. And just a little side note here. Here's a question for the day. How many plumbers are too many? And I know that's way off the track, but I was, people are talking about everybody's going to need to go into a trade because AI is going to be taking all of the white collar intellectual jobs. So now everybody's going to be a plumber. And the question is, how many plumbers are we going to really need? There's 8 billion people on the planet. Are we really going to need 8 billion plumbers? And if nobody's got a job, who's going to be able to pay the plumber in the first place? It's just a little food for thought. I hope that kind of makes you laugh a little bit with all of the just the strangeness that we're living in. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe. If there's a notification bell there, please hit the notification bell. I'll talk to you soon, and thank you again for watching. I hope you have a great day.